Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to New Business School's free webinar series on Takaful. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us this afternoon. We are delighted to have you as our guest, and we are sure that you're going to find the session very enlightening and also rewarding. So we'll just dive right into what we have for today, because our guest speakers are already in the house with us, and I'm sure they are ready to go. So this afternoon, or rather the objectives of this webinar series, which is themed The Viable Alternative, Takaful, the Viable Alternative, is that we're trying to increase awareness around Takaful insurance by providing a greater understanding of its concepts, implementation, and the hands-on application to our daily lives. This is considering whether it's business or our personal lives. As such, an understanding of Takaful is not only desirable, but it's also a key element of equality, diversity, and inclusion in the Nigerian insurance market. So in this series, the topics we intend to cover include understanding Takaful insurance, Takaful as an opportunity for financial inclusion, Takaful contracts, socioeconomic advantages of Takaful, and we'll also take a quick look at the Takaful outlook in Nigeria. Our guest speakers are all going to be people who are leaders in the Takaful, Nigerian Takaful space. And this afternoon, we'll be having with us two of the managing directors of the 5 fully fledged Takaful companies we have in Nigeria. So I'll just do a quick intro of them before we call on them one after the other to share with you of their wealth of experience. So our first speaker today will be Mr. Rilwan Sumonu, who is the Managing Director of New Takaful Insurance Limited, and he will walking us through the topic, understanding Takaful insurance. Of course, that will be the basis of the entire session, the entire series, more like. And then we'll also have with us Mr. Ibrahim Usman Shehu, who is the Managing Director and CEO of Jais Takaful Insurance Limited. And he'll be leading us in the discussion on Takaful as an opportunity for financial inclusion. So before, I would like to reassure you that we are making a recording of this session, and that recording will be available to all. We'll send you a link to our YouTube page where you can relax and watch it at another time. So for now, please just have your paper and pen readily available so that you can take notes, and then we can, of course, by the time they are done with their presentations, you can ask your questions. So first of all, I'd like to call on Mr. Rilwan Sumonu to kindly share with us on the topic, understanding Takaful insurance. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Haja.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Hello, Ekason. Báwo ni everything, àwọn family ẹ̀kọ́?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
Ẹ kú àsìkò ọdún.
Okay. So let's just give him a few seconds to rejoin us.
Haja, I'm ready. I'm with you.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and share your slides.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I think you can see my slide now.
Yes, you can.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. So Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Dr. Halimi. And I also want to use this opportunity to say thank you to the Nungu Business School for giving me the opportunity to be part of this webinar this afternoon. Without taking much of your time, I would go straight to my slide as is being shared. The topic, understanding Takaful insurance. I would actually be going through the content. We'll be looking at the risks and justification for Takaful, then the Takaful milestones, both globally and locally, the comparison between Takaful and conventional insurance. We'll also run through the Takaful business models. We'll look at the benefits, challenges, and opportunities of Takaful. Then I'll take you through briefly Nur Takaful itself and our journey so far as an organization. So why Takaful? Takaful basically is as a result of people's concern for their assets, experiencing certain damages or loss. There are certain events that could result in losses and damages to people's properties. Because of this, people are of the opinion that, look, there's need for me to protect my assets and even my persons, as the case may be. So the need for Takaful. Now, one of the justifications for Takaful, it's from a Quranic verse, which is in chapter 5, verse 2, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, help one another in furthering virtue and Allah's consciousness, and do not help one another in furthering evil and enmity. What this is saying in essence is that even Islam in itself permits and encourages like a mutual assistance, mutual guarantee and cooperation amongst Muslims. So what is Takaful itself? Takaful has been said to have been derived from an Arabic word that is called kafala, meaning joint guarantee, which is an Islamic risk-sharing arrangement where participants come together and they decide to contribute into a common pool of funds so that they can give support to members who may suffer a loss to their property or persons at a point in time. It operates under the basis of mutual cooperation and shared responsibility, ensuring that and also very important, ensuring that all transactions remain compliant with Sharia law. The principles around Takaful has to do with mutual assistance, like I mentioned earlier, that is ta'awun. The concept of ta'awun, which is a fundamental principle in Takaful, means mutual cooperation, assistance, and solidarity amongst members of a group. The second principle has to do with the voluntary donation that is called tabaru, where participants agree to contribute a proportion of their payment to help fellow members in case of financial loss, as I said earlier. Now we'll look at the milestones of Takaful. Like I said, Islam is a religion that promotes solidarity, cooperation, and mutual alliance amongst communities. The objective is to mitigate the burden of loss in the event of mishap or catastrophe. Some forms of mutual assistances were practiced before Islam in some forms of mutual assistance. And we look at this on year-on-year basis. We look at the year 622 CE. The milestone then was Al-Aqila system. That's an early form of risk-sharing practiced among Arab tribes. And this was also endorsed by the Prophet himself, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. During the Islamic era as well, the diya system, which is blood money. Blood money, the diya system was like a compensation paid by a collective group of people for accident or death or injury, forming the basis of mutual insurance. Then in 1979 was the first modern Takaful company that was established in Sudan. In 1984, the Takaful Act in Malaysia was also introduced, which provides a legal framework for Takaful, leading to the growth of the industry. Then in 1997, Bahrain AOFI issues Takaful standards. This sets the first Takaful accounting and operational standards for the Takaful industry. And in 2002, IFSB was also established. This was formed to regulate Islamic finance, including Takaful. And in 2005, the introduction of Takaful, which is the Islamic reinsurance. And also in 2010s, there was a global expansion of Takaful, with Takaful companies expanding into Middle East, Africa, Southeast, and Asia. Then in the 2020s, the digitalization and insurtech in Takaful, which is something that we're actually experiencing today around online platforms, blockchain, and AI-driven underwriting and to enhance Takaful operation. Now, what are the milestones of Takaful in Nigeria? In the year 2005 was the year NICOM first acknowledged the need for Takaful in Nigeria when it recognized the need for financial inclusion. Then in 2020, on the basis of the window operations, NICOM also authorized the approval for Cornerstone Hilal Takaful as the first composite Takaful window operator in Nigeria. And it was in 2013 that the first Takaful guidelines was actually issued by the regulator. And in 2016, the first two full-fledged Takaful companies were established in New Takaful and Jais Takaful. And in 2017, they both commenced operations. While in 2023, there was approval for additional two more Takaful operators in both Hilal and Salam Takaful. And in 2024, Crown Takaful also commenced operation. Now, what are the differences between Takaful and conventional insurance? It has to do majorly with the underlying concept. Like I said earlier, Takaful is more of risk sharing. Risk sharing in the sense that people come together to share their risk by contributing money into a common pool of funds so that when any of the members suffers a loss, that member is being compensated or is being taken care of from that pool of funds. Now, under the conventional insurance, it is called risk transfer mechanism. And how do I mean? Premiums are being paid to insurance companies, meaning once you pay your premiums to them, you have transferred your risk to an insurance company. Now, what that means is, in essence, is you are paying for a service to be rendered to you within that period. Now, once that service is rendered and there's no claim or you do not suffer a loss within that period of insurance, that is the end of the contract. Nothing comes back to you as an insured or a participant. But under the Takaful model, that is where the issue of surplus comes in. When there are no claims within a particular period of Takaful, and there is a surplus or profit in the risk fund after certain expenses that have been settled, then something comes back to you in form of surplus distribution. So these are some of the key differences between conventional and Takaful insurance companies. Now, in the area of fund ownership as well, the fund ownership under Takaful is owned collectively by the participants who contributed money into that pool of fund. Whereas under the conventional insurance, the money is owned by the insurance company and they can do whatever they like with it. Like I said earlier, once that service is being rendered and no claim crystallizes, the money becomes theirs. Then the investment approach is also very, very key. Whilst as a Takaful operator, we can only invest in Sharia-compliant instruments. A conventional insurance company can invest in whatever instrument they like, whether it is the riba-based or otherwise. Once they can get the best yield and returns from their investment, they are free to invest their money or funds anywhere. Now, this is a a pictorial description of what a typical operation of a Takaful insurance company looks like. In subsequent slides, I am still going to go into details, but this is just a summary of what a typical Takaful operation is all about. Like I mentioned earlier, contributions are made into the Tabaru fund, each of the members. When they are claimed, or if any of them suffer a loss, the person is being compensated from the risk fund. The Takaful operator is like a fund manager who oversees and manages that fund. They manage the fund in terms of claim settlement, re-Takaful, and also investment of the fund. It is the responsibility and the duty of a Takaful operator to ensure that at every point in time, the operations and investment to which the fund is being channeled to are Sharia compliant, and to also ensure that at every point in time, the risk fund is robust and healthy enough, one, to settle claim, and also to see the possibility that surplus are being distributed. In a situation where a risk fund does not declare a profit, then there's no surplus to be shared. I think this is one of the things that as operators, we always try to emphasize when we are having conversation with our prospects. Because the belief has always been, since you said surplus will be distributed, people always have it at the back of their minds that whether there's profit or not, you should declare surplus. So it's always important as Takaful operators for us to emphasize this. And then we have the Takaful business models, Mudaraba, Wakala, Hybrid, and WAC. So I'll go through each of them one after the other. Now, under the Mudaraba model, which is the profit sharing model, typically the participants will contribute money into the Takaful funds as Tabaru. The responsibility of the Takaful operator is to manage the fund and invest it in Sharia compliant instruments, just like I mentioned earlier. Any investment profit is also shared between the participants and the Takaful operator based on a pre-agreed ratio. This ratio is always agreed ab initio. Then if there are any losses, these are borne by the participants. Unless it can be proven that a loss in that risk fund was as a result of the negligence of an operator. If not, an operator does not bear in the losses under the Mudaraba model. Then what are the key features of Mudaraba model? There are no fixed fee for the operator. Unlike the Wakala model, where an upfront fee is charged, the operator earns only from the profit generated. So I think it's important that I emphasize this. An operator can only earn, that is under the Mudaraba, earn from profit that is generated from the Wakala model. Investment, it is also investment driven in the sense that it relies heavily on profitable investment to sustain the model. So it is the responsibility of the Takaful operator to ensure that at every point in time, they invest in instruments that will give returns, in as much as they want to, or they should also ensure that they are Sharia compliant instruments. The risk sharing, participants share the risk while the operator cannot share in the loss, except where it has been proven, just like I said earlier, can be proven that there was a negligence on the part of the Takaful operator. Then under the Wakala model, which is the agency model, the Takaful operator here acts as an agent, that's the Wakil, on behalf of the participants, and it charges a fee for managing the Takaful fund. The responsibility of the participants is to contribute money into the Takaful fund, while also the Takaful operator, manages the fund on behalf of the participants. And it charges a fixed Wakala fee to cover its operational expenses and management expenses. Then the area of risk sharing, claims are paid from the Takaful fund and not by the operator. Any profit from Sharia-compliant investment of these funds also belongs to the participants, unless otherwise agreed between the two, between the operator and the participants. Key features of Wakala model is an upfront fee-based, as the operator earns a fixed Wakala, as I said earlier, regardless of investment performance. And it's also easier to manage than Mudaraba model since fees are predetermined. That's on the part of every Takaful operator. They believe it is easier to manage a Mudaraba model since their fees will be predetermined. And losses in the investment fund do not affect the operator directly. So the hybrid model, which is a combination of both Mudaraba and Wakala, is another model under the Takaful model. The hybrid Takaful model combines both Wakala and Mudaraba to balance operator incentives and also participant benefits while ensuring Sharia compliance. From the Wakala point, the Takaful operator earns a fixed management fee, while from the Mudaraba point, investment profits and surplus are shared between the participants and the operator based on a pre-agreed ratio. What are the key benefits of hybrid? There's a fair risk-reward distribution, financial sustainability, Sharia compliance, and competitive market positioning. And I said here, this model is widely adopted in Nigeria to enhance Takaful operations while complying with NICOM guidelines. Then the last but not the least is the WACF model. Under the WACF model, the Takaful operator creates a WACF fund with an initial donation. And this fund is considered a perpetual endowment and is legally separated from the operator. Whilst the participants or policyholder, their responsibility is to contribute money as donations to the WACF fund. These contributions are irrevocable and belong to the WACF, meaning these contributions are funds that cannot be taken back by the participants. The Takaful operator will manage the WACF fund as an agent and it charges a Wakala fee for operational costs. He is also expected to invest the WACF fund in Sharia-compliant investments. For claims and surplus management, claims are paid from this WACF fund, and any surplus can be used for policyholder benefits, or it can be used to grow the WACF fund or used for charitable activities. So key features of WACF model, there's an independence of the fund. That's the WACF fund is legally separate from the operator, ensuring transparency. The charitable component of it is that participants' contribution are irrevocable, just like I said earlier, and this fosters solidarity. The fund is also designed to grow over time through investment returns and contributions. So we move on to the various types of Takaful business. Takaful business is being divided into two. We have the general Takaful and family Takaful. General Takaful provides coverage for loss or damage to property and other assets over a short period of time, which is usually 1 year. For general Takaful, the period of cover is always 1 year. The various types we have is the motor insurance, the motor Takaful, which covers private or commercial vehicles, fire and property Takaful for buildings, contents, and warehouses. Then we have the burglary Takaful, which provides cover for loss or damage to property caused by forced or violent entry to the insured premises. Marine Takaful covers shipping and cargo risk. Engineering Takaful for construction, plants, and machinery. Liability Takaful covers legal liabilities, like employers' liability and public liabilities. While travel Takaful covers risk during travel. Then the second type, as I mentioned, is the family Takaful. The family Takaful covers all risks associated with human life, death, disability, illness, through short-term and long-term investment needs. And these are a few types of family Takaful. We have the education Takaful, which helps parents to save for children's education. retirement or pension Takaful, which is long-term savings for retirement protection, medical and health Takaful, which covers hospital and treatment costs, mortgage or financing Takaful. This pays off outstanding home loan if participants passes away or becomes disabled. Then the term family Takaful, which is a pure protection for a fixed period. It pays benefit on death or disability. And investment-linked Takaful, which combines protection with Sharia-compliant investments. And lastly, is the group family Takaful, which is a Sharia-compliant employee benefit plan. This provides cover for a group of people, usually employees or members of an organization or association, against death, disability, or critical illnesses. So what are the benefits of Takaful? We say ethical, interest-free risk management. Takaful operates without riba, which is interest, and avoids unethical investment, ensuring risk management is fair and transparent. The profit-sharing opportunities for participants, like I said earlier, unlike conventional insurance, surplus funds in Takaful may be distributed amongst participants, this fostering a sense of shared benefit. It also promotes social solidarity and financial inclusion because it encourages collective responsibility by providing access to financial protection for individuals who may avoid conventional insurance for religious or ethical reasons. Alignment with religious and moral values. Takaful is designed to comply with Islamic principles. It ensures that all transactions are based on mutual cooperation and social welfare. Look at the global and local adoption of Takaful. Now, if you look at the growth of Takaful worldwide, the global Takaful market has experienced significant growth over the past 2 decades. Contributions have surged from 2.1 billion in 2022 to about 33.6 billion in 2023, making a 16-fold, as about 16-fold increase. Projections also indicate that the market will continue to expand, reaching an approximately 74 billion by 2032, with an annual growth rate of about 8.9%. Now, global and local adoption of Takaful. Key markets in the Middle East and Malaysia and Africa. The Middle East, countries in the Middle East, especially the GCC nations, have been at the forefront of Takaful adoption. The region's strong Islamic finance, infrastructure, and supportive regulatory framework have actually facilitated this growth. And Malaysia also stands out as a global leader in the Takaful industry, boasting of a well-established regulatory environment and a high penetration rate. And Africa, with a substantial Muslim population, presents a promising market for Takaful, where countries like Sudan and Egypt have initiated Takaful operations, leveraging the growing demand for Sharia-compliant financial products. Then the involvement of Takaful in the Nigerian landscape. Takaful in Nigeria is steadily growing, considering the Muslim population of about 48% and increasing awareness of Islamic finance. Like NICOM has established regulatory guidelines in 2013 to facilitate the industry expansion. And this has led to the establishment of 5 full-fledged Takaful companies in Nigeria, which are No Takaful, Jais Takaful, Salam Takaful, Ilal Takaful, and Kran Takaful. And despite these developments, Takaful still remains a small fraction of the insurance market in Nigeria, representing about less than 1%. However, there's a significant growth potential in this regard for Takaful. What are the key challenges in Takaful? There's the challenge of limited awareness. Even as operators, we know this is one of the major challenges that we have. The level of awareness is still very low. So we have a whole lot of work on our hands as Takaful operators in ensuring that we sensitize, educate the insuring public for them to be aware of Takaful and the uniqueness of Takaful. Another challenge has always been the issue of misconceptions whereby people believe Takaful is only for Muslims. But whereas Takaful is for both Muslims and non-Muslims. To a large extent, this misconception is beginning to dwindle a bit, but we still have a whole lot of work to do. Even amongst Muslims, there's still that misconception that Takaful is only for Muslims alone. And even within Muslims as well, we still have issues concerning the fact that some school of thought still believe Takaful is not Sharia compliant. So these are some of the challenges we have. Shortage of skilled personnel. There's a scarcity of experts trained in both Islamic finance and insurance. Oftentimes, when we are doing our recruitments, we have this challenge. What we have been able to do is to bring in some people with conventional insurance experience and see how we can modify them into understanding the uniqueness of Takaful. Then regulatory complexities. Takaful needs to comply with both general insurance regulations and Sharia principles, which has created additional layers of governance and compliance for us. Then also competition with conventional insurance companies who have well-established brands and larger customer bases. And even to a large extent, we face this challenge with the conventional insurance companies, especially when you are on some co-insurance businesses with them. And they feel, look, if you guys are paying something back as surplus and we are not paying any, there's every tendency we are going to lose all our customers to you guys at renewal. So these are some of the challenges that we have faced, but we've been able to manage each of them. Opportunities, a whole lot of opportunities are bound for Takaful. The level of awareness of ethical insurance is growing day by day, especially with the establishment of more Islamic banks. We've been able to leverage that in ensuring that we grow the market for Takaful. Then the adoption of technology, such as online policy management, has also really helped Takaful operators. And we're also seeing this as giving us more opportunity to expand and deepen our penetration. So I'll be going to the last slide, which is actually going to talk about my organization. That is Takaful, our journey so far. Like I said earlier, we started operation in the year 2017. And alhamdulillah, we've been able to grow our business by about 3,000% growth rate from 2017 till date. In 2017, our gross written contribution was about 273 million. Whereas as last year, 2024, we're able to grow our contribution to about 10 billion naira, giving us a growth rate of about, like I said, about 3,000% between 2017 and 2024. This is our surplus history. One of the unique things that has really sold us in the market, one of the basic major challenges an insurance company has is the issue of trust. And over time, we've been able to buy the trust of the insuring public. Why? Because we have kept to our promise. You see, the unique thing about Takaful has always been the issue of surplus distribution as far as the insuring public is concerned, brokers inclusive. Why am I mentioning brokers? They control about 80% of the insurance market in Nigeria. So one of the major things we've been able to get ourselves endeared to them is the fact that we kept our promises that we're going to distribute surplus. And we've been able to do this consistently, for about 7 years. And the surplus rate is as mentioned above. So far, we have distributed a total of about 409 million naira as surplus. And these are evidences of the letters that we received from the regulator for us to distribute surplus. These are also pictorial evidences of events that we held when we were presenting all these checks to our various participants. So like I said, our growth rate to date, we have paid over 10 billion naira in claims between 2017 and 2024. Since we also commenced operation in 2017, we have distributed, like I said, about 490 million in surplus to our participants. Recently, we launched our HMO business in November 2024. That's the No Health. We have a national license, and we happen to be the only non-interest HMO to be issued that license in Nigeria. We have also been able to build our in-house IT solution, which is built by our staff, and it is operational as we speak. We have also launched our own mobile app, which is Rahab and Nu, which was launched in 2024. This would afford our participants, easy purchase of our Takaful products. They will be able to process their claims within the confines of their homes and also enhance their lifestyle benefit. Why No Takaful? Our ethical practices. To the best of our ability, we have ensured that we are very equitable and fair in our operations. We are a very innovative organization in which what we do is we do not just sell Takaful plans to you, we profile solutions to you on the basis of our tailor-made products that will suit your operation and suit your lifestyle as an individual as well. Our exceptional service has also endeared us to the insuring public, and also, like I said, surplus benefit that we've been able to distribute. This is a range of our products. Like I mentioned earlier, both general and group family. And these are some of our participants. And we have locations in we have 6 locations currently: Lagos, Abuja, Kano, Ibadan, and Port Harcourt. The mandate from our board is that we should have presence in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. So we are looking at opening our office in the southeast in Enugu before the end of 2nd quarter, and the northeast, which is going to be in Bauchi before the end of 2nd quarter as well. So I welcome any question, insight, or contribution on the topic that I've discussed, and I say thank you very much. Masalam.
Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate everything you have been able to share with us. It's been very enlightening. So what will happen is that we'll take kindly, Mr. Wasujimo, kindly take note of your question. We'll take it at the end of the 2nd session, along with all the other questions that are already in the chat box. So thank you so much, Mr. Simonu. We really appreciate you, and we really appreciate if you could hold on till after the next speaker so that you'll be able to address questions. I hope that works for you.
That works for me. I'm okay with that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So would like to call on Mr. Ibrahim Usman Shiu of Jais Takaful to kindly.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam barakatuh. You're most welcome, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hello.
We can hear you.
Yeah, all right.
So you can
Hold
go
them.
ahead.
I'm just you have my slides now. I sent him my slides. Can you share them on my behalf here? Because can you?
No problem. That's a problem.
Okay.
Problem.
Yeah, all right.
Please give me a second.
Okay. Hello.
Yes. So we are good to go, sir.
Can you adjust? Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And good afternoon, everyone. Now, I'm really excited to be here, and I really want to specially thank Nungu Business School for giving us opportunity to talk about Takaful and for my topic. Takaful as an opportunity for financial inclusion. Now, the MD of New Takaful has delved so much on Takaful, how it started, and all of that. And I think we can clearly see from what he has said that the business is meant to include people or a segment of the society or a particular demography of society that has been excluded in the financial system and space. Now, looking at conventional insurances, you know, the conventional insurance in particular is meant to be capitalistic in approach. Why did I say that? Because it's a business that is meant to serve the shareholders while giving only the benefit of claims to participants or to the insuring public. Now, for that, there are a lot of challenges, especially when you look at the underserved, the unserved, and people that are not very well to do and have disposable income to do insurance. So for that reason, there were a lot of agitations right internally in Nigeria and from the overseas world that we need to create a system where there will be financial inclusion of the other segments of society that are underserved or completely excluded from the financial space. Now, what is financial inclusion? Financial inclusion is a deliberate plan, a system well designed to ensure that customers or participant prospective business people are involved in the businesses of running in the financial space who were actually in the past hitherto excluded. So they don't have the benefit of having to transact businesses, have their assets covered, and then be able to serve the best of their financial interests. Now, the other side is about the religious belief. The religious belief is the aspect that is most critical to the Muslim population. I think you can go to the next slide. Second slide, please. Hello. 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 Assalamu alaikum. Second slide, please.
Okay.
Second slide, please. So what we're trying to demonstrate, no, that next one, where we have the IFINA and the Financial Inclusion Strategy of the Federal Government 2020. Okay, fine. Now the background. Why financial inclusion? We say it's important because, no, go back, please. Go back. The background, please. The background.
That's where I'm at now. Background, Takaful operations.
No. It's not my screen is blank. Okay, fine. That's the background. Now, the Takaful operations was actually our own Takaful operations was as a product, as a result of the strategy of the federal government, FSS 2020, which was a blue.
Give us a moment. I'm sure he'll log back in. This one. Technology. Are the slides visible to everyone, please?
Yes, the slide is visible to us.
I don't know. The networks here seems to be fluctuating. I don't know what's the challenge.
Don't worry, just go ahead, brother. Technology is like that.
I'm trying to see the financial.
I guess we are having some slight network challenge from his end. Once he comes around, he will join us.
We just advise that he stays in it looks for a better location with a better connectivity, and from there he can actually join the seminar. But from the slide, it is obvious that he's speaking to us about the Takaful operation, which is a product of the financial system strategy, which was a strategy document that was presented to the federal government for 2022, and a blueprint that increases the access to financial service to the underserved. So here the strategy document is talking to people who are either not reached or underserved, and they are outside of the financial nets. And when you are outside of the financial net, it also states that you are also socially excluded. And as such, this documentation makes it very important, which is a product of 2008 based on a survey by Enhancing Financial Innovation and Access, which is EFINA. EFINA, we all know, publish financial inclusion data from time to time. And they revealed that approximately 53% of adults were excluded from the financial services, and majority of these adults are Muslims. So 53% adult Muslims are outside of the financial net. And as at present date, the Global Initiative for Financial Inclusion has significantly contributed to economic development in Nigeria, resulting in a reduction of the exclusion rate from 53% in 2008 to 26% in 2023. I think this is a remarkable one. And this is something we must actually thank the Takaful companies as well as the Islamic banking organizations for a job well done, because they've sliced this for almost a half. And for a half, this is a job well done by them. This is a good job.
I think Mr. Shiu is back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm back. So as let's go to the next slide. The financial inclusion, a persistent challenge. Next one, please. Next slide. Now, fine. What the slide is talking about is that presently there are about 2 billion adults worldwide that lack financial access. So what does financial services? What that says is that it's a major challenge across the globe, that a lot of people lack access to financial services due to exclusion, and basically due to some factors, either environmental, social, or otherwise. So there was a lot of need across the globe to make sure that other people come into the financial net so that globally people will benefit. In Nigeria, financial inclusion rose to 74% in 2023 from 68% in 2020, while 26% are still financially excluded. And that's a report that we got from the EFINA 2023.
He's patient with us. He's still on the chat. Seems to have serious network challenges.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you, sir.
I sincerely want to apologize for this break transmission. It's not within my control here. So just as I was saying, in Nigeria, the financial inclusion rose to 74% in 2023, from 68% in 2020, while 26% are still financially excluded. And that's the report we got from EFINA. So what that tells you is that there's a lot of work to do in terms of what we need to do to be able to include almost everyone into the financial space. And it's really important that out of this we still want to emphasize. In the world all over 1 billion out of the 2 billion population that are excluded from financial services are Muslims. Over 1 billion of this lacking access to Sharia compliance services are actually Muslims. So what that tells you is that Nigeria, as one of the countries that has the major population of Muslims, needs to do a lot to be able to come up to, addressing this major challenge of ensuring that Muslims participate actively in this ever-growing and evolving financial market. And the impact of all of this is that it's exacerbate poverty, because if you are not in the financial net, you'll be suffering from abject poverty because your businesses will lack a lot of support. Because in Takaful, there is support, there's empathy in Takaful, and there is fairness in the business of Takaful. But unfortunately, if Muslims across the globe do not have access to this kind of services, then it means that Muslims are being deprived of all of these benefits. And in Nigeria especially, and that's why you could see a lot of social upheavals, a lot of social challenges and all of that. And it's something that we need to, there's something, it's really a major challenge that we need to do a lot to address, especially those of us that are operators in the financial space. And then it brings about injustice and inequality, because when you run through conventional businesses, you realize a lot of unfairness in the business that's happening. In fact, and basically, it's a business that supports the capitalist. It does not help the poor when you look at it critically. And for that reason, it is important that we have a business that is fair, that is transparent, that can support the vulnerable, so that at the end of the day, especially when you look at businesses in Islam, Islam does not condone unfairness. It doesn't condone that a certain segment of the society should be taking undue advantage over the others that are all living together in the same society. So if you have Takaful as an inclusive insurance, it really eliminates injustice and it creates social fairness and equality in business, that people that run those businesses actually benefit a lot. The next slide I have is Takaful. What is Takaful? I think we've had the explanation from the MD of Nur Takaful, so I don't need to overflog that. But I think an overview of Takaful is that Takaful is a business that is based on mutual guarantee. It's a business on solidarity. It's a business that is fair. And so if you are conversant with what is happening in the conventional space, you know that with Takaful, you are better off, because it's a business that gives you the benefit of what, the intention that you actually went into having to have the insurance itself. And then in the absence of claims, you'll be able to have a fair share of that surplus. We're going to come up to that fair share of surplus distribution in Nigeria and how it's actually enhanced the penetration of Takaful. Now, Takaful products and financial services, and I think all the products have been enumerated, but I think one basic thing I would like to say here is that as Takaful operators, we have a challenge of having to come up with our own unique products. Because when you look at what we sell, most of the products we sell are actually products that we copy from the conventional. But one key thing about Islamic finance, and for you to be able to grow, there must be consistent and continuous innovation. Innovation and service delivery are the major drivers that can make us achieve and get to their promised land. So as for operators, we need to be creative, we need to innovate, we need to continuously and consistently be innovative so that our product will be distinct from the conventional. And I think that way, other than surplus, we're going to make a remarkable success. And I'll give you an example when we get to the other slides, where the introduction of certain new products, based on Takaful models, really help to penetrate and serve the underserved and the underprivileged in Nigeria. Now, another advantage is for us as Muslims, we know that our major challenge with regards to doing conventional businesses is about the non-Sharia compliance of such businesses and the product they sell. And we know Islam is a complete way of life. Your business is an integral part of your life. So therefore, you must make sure that your source of livelihood is Sharia compliant. And that's the aspect that Takaful has actually come up to fix in terms of, especially the insurance side of our business. Now, the next one is Takaful actually increases access to financial services for the underserved population, which I think I've mentioned, which is very, very critical. Then the issue of financial literacy, the coming of Takaful companies has actually made us to come up to have several engagements, like this webinar that we're doing is a way to enlighten the public, to tell them about Takaful and how Takaful as inclusive insurance has actually helped them, can actually help them in ensuring that they better the loss of their businesses, their social life, their economic life, and their family life as well. So continuous enlightenment by all operators, including regulator, is critical to the success of the Takaful operations that we're doing. And we're urging every one of us here, especially those of us that are privileged in the financial space, to please, after this webinar, take the message to the public that Takaful has come to fix in the gap, that area where people have sentiments about, or have reservations about the conventional insurance that has been, provided over decades, many decades ago, that Takaful has actually come to solve the problems of especially Muslims and the underserved. For the underserved, it is actually micro Takaful that will help them. And micro Takaful is actually, micro Takaful is actually one aspect that I think the regulator is driving. And all of us as Takaful operators too needs to really come up to solutions so that we have micro businesses that can run through some local governments, some local environments, some other areas, because if you restrict our businesses to urban areas, I can tell you the bulk of Nigerians will not benefit from the services of the Takaful operations that we're doing. Then education and literacy, which is key. If by the time you have an idea and you are well skilled in it, you are already empowered. And we need to really educate and take hold. And in this respect, I think I would like to commend the National Insurance Commission. In the last few years, they've been engaging all the Takaful operators in terms of what to do and how to go about it with respect to enlightenment, public enlightenment, and creating necessary education about Takaful. We had done a conference or a 2-day sensitization workshop in Katsina, which was facilitated by NICOM in conjunction with the Katsina State Government. The Takaful Committee is working hard to organize a sensitization workshop in Lagos, in Kano, and in Port Harcourt. We're all working hard, and we had already done some business propositions and discussion with a consultant to ensure that the Takaful Committee, which is the body that comprises of all the Takaful companies in Nigeria, to be able to go to all regions in the country and sensitize them about Takaful operations and how they stand to benefit when they subscribe to Takaful products. And so by the time you subscribe, you will naturally be empowered. And another benefit, especially as Nigeria, other than oil, the next mainstay of the country is agricultural. Now, I am aware that the majority of Takaful companies that are operating, which are composite in nature, full-fledged, I've actually applied to NICOM and I've got approval to provide agricultural Takaful insurance to our teeming farmers. And this agricultural product covers both indemnity cover and index base. So customers or Nigerians that are involved in farming can actually have a protection in case of flooding, typhoon, or droughts. So the agricultural product is actually a product that is selling very well in the north. And I think it's important for us as Takaful operators to really deploy our energy to see how we can best up in that. And I'm glad to mention that some state governments in Nigeria today has actually come up, including the National Agricultural Development Fund, to work together to see how we can work with, they can work with the Takaful companies in Nigeria to be able to provide risk protection needs for the investment that both the government and the private individuals who are actually working in conjunction with the NADF to provide them mitigation in case of losses. This is very, very important because when a farmer loses his farmland and there is no compensation for him, the likelihood of him to get encouraged to come back will be very, very minimal. Then the other aspect, next slide, is about the micro Takaful, which is important, and I think I mentioned about that. It provides protection to low-income people. We don't really have that much in the country, but I'm aware that sometimes back, Jaiz Bank in particular has developed SME, which they took to some local governments, which we provided Takaful cover for them as a rider, and they were able to really serve the underserved, and the underserved are actually benefited a lot. So it's an area that I would urge all of us as Takaful people to really come up to that, because financial inclusion is not just about Takaful. It is about microfinance, micro insurance, micro businesses, SMEs, and all of that, and then growing the entrepreneurship of our people. We need to really work hard on that, because that is where the bulk of economic activities are happening. And so for us and for NICOM to achieve successfully the financial inclusion policy of the federal government, they've been encouraging us to register micro Takaful companies. Just as we have today, micro insurance companies. I don't know whether some of us are aware, but we know that, you must be aware about the Cassava Microfinance, Cassava Micro Takaful. It's a micro Takaful company operating in Ogun State, which has created a lot of value for our customers in that state. And it is equally important that we replicate such success in Takaful space, so that our people who are excluded in the financial space can actually benefit from this. The other area in terms of overcoming challenges, and I think visually he has, the MD of Takaful has talked about challenges, but I think I need to just mention a few so that it can serve as a reminder to all of us. Please, next slide. The regulatory framework. Now, in terms of regulation, we know that NICOM has done a lot in terms of providing regulation that will help support the Takaful space. But I want to mention here that the conventional insurance, and in conjunction, in fact, not just the conventional, including us who are operators, and the government has actually come up with, through the National Assembly, come with the Insurance Act 2024. Now, if you check the Insurance Act 2003, Takaful was not even mentioned. But I think progressively in the insurance law, the reviewed insurance law 2024, that is waiting the present accent, Takaful was mentioned, which means Takaful is making progress in terms of getting the necessary recognition from the regulator. And I'm happy to mention that some of the National Assembly members who are actually insurance people in the past have actually taken keen interest in what Takaful companies are doing, and they have been supporting us. I was told, emphatically from the regulator, that each time they go to National Assembly, the members of the National Assembly will ask them, so where is the space of Takaful? What are you doing about Takaful? And they've come back to tell us that we need to do a lot. And I think as Takaful operators, we are working hard to make sure that we satisfy the need of not just our people, but our regulators as well. So the Insurance Law 2024 is an avenue for us as Takaful operators to make our mark, because the provision of the law actually mentioned Takaful under the auxiliary services. And what it said was that regulation, management and policy making regarding Takaful is now vested with the National Insurance Commission, which is NICOM. So our continuous engagement with NICOM will really help us determine how we're going to continue to operate. And it will really help in making us either succeed in the business we're doing, or it inhibits our business. So Takaful operators jointly must engage and then engage the regulator to see how we'll be able to, get the best, policy and regulation that will support the Takaful space. Just a reminder here, we must remember that the conventional companies have actually stayed many, many years before they came to where they are today. And they were supported by government. So at this level that we are as Takaful, which is less than 10 years, we all must engage the regulator so that the regulator will support us in our drive and then come up with policies that will create an enabling environment devoid of inhibitions so that the Takaful companies can thrive. Now, the other point I mentioned, which was, I think again mentioned, I don't want to overflog it, is the issue of awareness creation. We were doing a lot in terms of that as individual companies as well as a Takaful committee. And I'm similarly happy with what Nungu Business School is doing, creating this awareness and coming up with this webinar free so that interested people in Nigeria can now participate and see the benefit of Takaful and then subsequently subscribe. Now, in terms, we said one of the challenges is limited infrastructure. Now, IT digitalization and IT technology is very, very important. We know that beyond digital marketing, we've now gone AI. So for us, we must continuously improve on our infrastructure, the IT technology, create franchise offices. Takaful companies must create franchise offices where the people can access their business seamlessly and at the closest of their location. So that if it's the issue of cost of running offices or branch offices, we can eliminate that by coming up with franchise offices and then high net worth individuals that will be selling this business on our behalf and then be able to create the necessary awareness. We know that maintaining offices is really capital intensive. So we use IT, we use app. Takaful has actually launched app like 3 years, 4 years ago, and it's working. So at the comfort of your living room, you can access any of our products and then be able to subscribe. And then immediately and instantaneously, you get a response. And then you can download their policy and receipts and everything, and then use it for whatever purpose that you want to use it for. So infrastructure is important. But I think on this note, I just want to mention something about infrastructure. The more we have Islamic banks in the country, the more Takaful companies will be able to leverage on their infrastructure to sell insurance. And that takes us to the point of Banker Takaful. The meaning of Banker Takaful simply means using bank infrastructure to sell Takaful insurance. The Islamic bank stability will be jeopardized and we will have a lot of challenges. So we need to use infrastructure and we need to have more Islamic banks because the Islamic banks comes up. In fact, what I think I need to mention here is that pre and post registration, all Islamic banks require Takaful because before an Islamic bank is registered, the Islamic bank must show evidence that they have Takaful policies for the bank itself, which covers fidelity guarantee, group life for staff, and money in transit policy and money policy. So Islamic banks require Takaful companies to thrive. After that, they now sell products. They sell products and they make money by giving out facility. Which company provides the protection? The companies that provide the protection are the Takaful companies. So the Takaful companies are actually very, very important and integral part of the growth process of the Islamic banks and the Islamic financial system as a whole. So we create an ecosystem where the banks are there, the Takaful companies are there to provide mitigation and risk management to the Islamic banks. And then the fund managers, Islamic capital market is there, and they too have inherent risk, which we equally provide, mitigation to them. So this is very, very important, and I think I need to emphasize much more. You don't need to. We cannot overemphasize that point because it's critical that we understand that the growth of every business comes with management. If risk management is not there, there is no way the business will thrive. And so all businesses that are run through the Islamic institutions, non-interest financial institutions in Nigeria, require Takaful insurance services to thrive. Now, I'll go to the summary of the key points. Now, as a result of the financial FSS 2020, today we have registered full-fledged composite Takaful operators, 5 registered composite Takaful operators operating in Nigeria. And I think I just need to mention that the advantage we have when you apply for registration of Takaful is that NICOM approve your license to provide both general and family. In the conventional space, there is provision for you to register for general only, which is a specialist company, or you go to family Takaful, which is again a specialist company. But today, Alhamdulillah, all 5 registered composite Takaful companies are full-fledged, and they are all composite, meaning they transact both general and family. And again, by extension, we all now have agricultural Takaful policies that were issued, which is again a part of the key result, key points that we have summarized, we've gotten from the financial inclusion policy of the federal government. Now, second point is that I've not written these points because so until they are authenticated, that's when we can put them on the script. So they are debatable figures, but they are figures that are estimated based on my personal experience. Now, today, Takaful companies have operated for more than 7 to 8 years. Between 7 to 8 years, which means there are some that are actually as old as 7 to 8 years. Some are actually 3 years. Some are as old as just maybe 1.5 years or so. And I'm happy the MD of New Takaful has mentioned all the Takaful companies. But I just want to mention that today, the estimated gross contribution generated by these Takaful companies in the last 6, 7 to 8 years is estimated to be in the region of over 35 billion naira. So we've really made a lot of progress in that respect. And in terms of claims, well over 15 billion naira. And that is a major success. And I think I equally need to mention here that one of the key things that we made a difference when Takaful came into the Nigerian insurance market is the fact that there has not been any formal complaint to National Insurance Commission that Takaful companies have not been settling claims. They have all acknowledged that all Takaful companies are up and prompt in settlement of all claims, genuine claims that are actually reported to them. And it's a major plus to the Takaful space. So that's one advantage that, conventional companies are running away or they are really getting jittery about us. That in terms of claim, we are very prompt. And then again, we share surplus, which is again a major value addition we are coming up with. Then the next point is today, it is estimated that the 5 Takaful companies have so far paid in excess of 2 billion surplus we paid was over 230 million naira. So and collectively, all the Takaful companies, putting all the 5 Takaful companies together, so far, we have settled in excess of almost 2 billion naira in terms of surplus.
Yeah, that's the network again. But
Yeah, sorry, please. I'm sorry, again, a network disruption. Now, I mentioned the point of surplus, that today we paid in excess of, or almost in the region of 2 billion naira as surplus. The next point is that today, the 5 Takaful companies have served over 1 million participants. When I say participants, directly and indirectly, we had served in the last 8 years over 1 million participants in the country. Now, another point we've done, which was a creation as a result of the creation of the Takaful, is that we have created direct and indirect jobs estimated to be over 500,000. So we have direct jobs that we have created. We have agents that we are working with, and all of that put together, including some high net worth individuals doing business with us. So the Takaful companies have actually created almost 500,000 jobs in the country. Another point I just want to mention again is that we have expanded and stabilizes the Islamic finance market, because with the, okay, fine, we're going to round up quickly. So we've expanded the Islamic finance market by stabilizing and providing risk protection needs to both our participants and the non-interest financial institutions, including the banks and the fund managers. And we've been able to help support the government policy in its financial inclusion, policy of the federal government, FSS 2020. And we have really done a lot with respect to that, all of us as Takaful operators. And again, I mentioned as one of our achievements is that the new insurance law, which is coming up, which yet to be signed, but new insurance law 2024 that was passed by the National Assembly and yet to be signed. The Takaful insurance has actually come up to play a key role there. So for want of time, and I don't want to overflow all that we've said, is that Takaful has actually done a lot. And we're really doing a lot, and we've built trust in people, and a lot of people are really entrusting us with their businesses. And for Jais Takaful, today we have our head office, and we have about 6 branches across the country that are actually providing services to people. And we have our mobile app, and we had significantly contributed to the Islamic finance market in Nigeria. And at this point, I just want to wish us all well, and I wish us successful deliberations as we move on. So my remaining other slides can be shown later. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you very much, sir. That was really an insightful. So we'll go through the questions now. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Sheru. That was fantastic. And you have given us an insight into how well Takaful has actually added to financial inclusion, both in this country.
I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you.
Okay, can you hear me now? I said your presentation has actually shown us that Takaful Insurance has done a lot to improve financial inclusion in Nigeria. And of course, by extension, we know that it has also done so much beyond the shores of this country. So I'd like to call on both you and Mr. Sumonu to kindly be ready to take the questions. There are quite a number of them in the chat box. So I'll just read the ones we can take, because we wouldn't want to take too much of the participants and your time. Okay, I can see the requests for customer service phone numbers of the 2 companies. We'll be sure to share them later, but if you can type them into the chat box now, anyone from those 2 companies.
All right.
Please do that as we ask the questions. Okay, the first question is that what do you mean by policyholder benefits in regards to WACOF fund? Mr. Sumonu, are you there?
Sorry, I'm here with you.
Okay, so the question is what you mean by policyholder benefits with regards to work-off fund.
Okay, what I was actually trying to drive at when I made that statement was that if you look at the work fund, the initial donation that is made is actually used in creating the work fund. Now, how does a policyholder benefit from it? The fund is actually used in the settlement of claims, pay benefits, and other risk-related expenses. So that was what I meant by a participant policyholders benefiting in regards of work fund.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So there's another question here. Is the participant required to pay zakat on their contribution amount in the risk fund?
Well, a participant is not expected to pay zakat on the contributions. And why do I say that? Zakat is always due on owned wealth. Once you make a contribution under Takaful, your contribution is like a donation, like a tabaru, and it goes into the risk fund. So that particular amount does not belong to you. So there's no zakat on it because you do not own that wealth anymore. So no, a participant is not required to pay zakat on the contribution made into Takaful transactions. Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
hope that
So
answers the questions.
I hope so too. There's a variance to a small variation to that question. And the person said, must the beneficiaries of the Takaful benefits pay the zakat on his or receivable benefits, that's the surplus?
Yes, beneficiaries of Takaful benefits may need to pay zakat, but only if the benefit qualify as part of their zakatable assets. Since the benefit has become part of their wealth, I think it's zakatable.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm trying to look for the next one. Please, if there are any other questions, kindly feel free to type them in. Okay, there's a question that says, how can a non-interest microfinance bank engage and provide Takaful services?
I don't know whether Malam
Can I answer that?
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead, sir. Thank you.
You see, before you provide a micro Takaful service, you have to be registered by the regulator. And the criteria and the requirements for registering for a micro Takaful are all specified. So a conventional micro Takaful, micro insurance company cannot provide micro Takaful services to customers unless and until it gets licensed from the regulator. And so what they need to do, if they really have that urge and they need to certify that segment of the customers, they should then apply to NICOM. There's a unit that's charged with responsibility of registering micro insurance and micro Takaful. And the requirements are not really too stringent. So they can easily apply and then get qualified. They will review and then evaluate their application. And if they qualify to be registered, they will register them. Then they can work side by side with the conventional micro insurance company they're running. And whoever, based on the choice of the customer, if they want micro Takaful, they go to micro Takaful. If they want conventional micro insurance, they go to micro insurance. And then they will operate within the law.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know. Can I quickly chip in one or two things there?
Please go ahead.
Okay, I think for the person who asked that question, I think one of the few things I will need to talk about in that regard, it's because from the question I could see that it is a non-interest microfinance bank. At Takaful,
so is it non-interest?
Yes, we can go into a bank at Takaful model with you guys. Also, there's every possibility that we partner with you in product design for micro Takaful, since it's a microfinance bank. And the CBN allows microfinance bank to collaborate with Takaful operators in order to enhance financial inclusion. So I think we can have this kind of partnership with your organization, since you are a non-interest microfinance bank? I think that was the part that Madam Shehu did not pick.
Yeah, I think I just want to make an addition here. You know, I didn't get that it was a non-interest. But if it's a non-interest, it means our model can align and work together. And so all we need to do is to have a discussion between our team and the team of the non-interest microfinance bank, and then come up to tailor-made products that will suit the needs of their customers, so that it wouldn't be like we're just imposing product to them. We sit together and then come up with those products, and then it will be able to satisfy both their customers and themselves, and then be able to give them the maximum benefit of Takaful with the support and empathy and fairness that Takaful provides for customers. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. So the next question is quite basic. The question is, how is Takaful insurance investment income free from riba?
Okay, can I take that question?
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. It's an interesting question, but you see, the guideline provided by the regulator restricts Takaful companies from investing in other than non-interest. In fact, as we speak, the regulator does not allow companies, Takaful companies, to invest in no other than cash-related investments. So the models that the new Takaful MD has initiated and has explained were some of the products that we employ in our investments. So first and foremost, as we speak, all Takaful companies must have their investment in either the non-interest banks or the non-interest finance institutions, like the capital markets and the rest. So those companies are already certified Sharia compliant. And so whatever they do in terms of engaging in investing your funds are presumed to be Sharia compliant. So the returns they are given to you are actually returns based on a pre-agreed sharing formula, where they'll take their own portion and then give you their own. And then you come and share with their participants. So it's expected that, barring all odds, if all Takaful companies are complying with the provisions of the law, all our returns on investment, ROIs, are actually coming up from Sharia compliant institutions. And so therefore, what we give back to our customers as participants is presumed and confirmed to be Sharia compliant. So I think there's no, non-permissible income that comes to Takaful companies from the investment that we do, provided we comply with the provisions of the law. Thank you.
Absolutely. So you can be rest assured that whatever business you're doing with the Takaful companies is interest-free. And of course, the interest is not the only prohibition. All is free of all the other prohibitions of Islamic and ethical financing. So the next question is, okay, like I said, we'll upload the recording and then share the link with you so you can watch it from our YouTube page. So I just want to rush through very quickly and see whether we can take other questions. Okay, this question says, it was noted that brokers control almost 80% of insurance business. Is the ORC being requested by the brokers Sharia compliant for Takaful operators to also pay like the conventional insurance does?
I'll leave MD Note Takaful to answer that question.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. Now, it is not, it is, how do I put it? It is against the regulators' guidelines as far as insurance is concerned. It is illegal for any insurance company, whether conventional or Takaful, to pay ORC. So the issue of whether it is Sharia compliant or not does not even arise, since, because it's more or less like a bribe, since Even the regulator has frowned against it. So I do not expect any Takaful operator to pay ORC. So I think that's just the best way I would be able to respond to that question.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So we have actually come to the end of the time we earmarked for this webinar. But if you would not mind, that is the participants and our speakers, I'll just see if there are any other questions that. Okay, this question asks whether there are any Takaful companies in the UK. I'm sure there are. But you'd like to know if there are Takaful companies in the UK, you may need to do a Google search to ensure that you can actually contact them, and that's the best way to contact them as quickly as possible. Okay, there's a comment here. I'll take your question, Mr. Abdurrashid Isiaku, before we now read this comments. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, there's quite an interesting question that was skipped, and I have been quite attentive, looking forward to getting an answer for. I think I'll just read out the question and see if I can get any response on it. So it goes thus, that a Takaful company or Takaful companies are allowed to open a collection account with conventional banks, and interest may be earned on such accounts. How do you handle the riba? How do you handle the interest?
Hello, can I answer that question?
Okay, Madam Chief, go ahead.
I'll make attempt. Ordinarily, honestly, I must be honest with you, that strictly speaking, we are not expected to open an account with a conventional bank. Riba-based bank, we are not expected to open accounts with them.
Okay.
But I don't know whether it's business decision or some other reasons. You can maybe, if there are accounts in the conventional bank that does not earn interest, maybe a current account that does not earn interest, maybe if the company wants to do that, they need to seek the approval of their ace to do that.
Okay. Okay.
If any Takaful company wants to do that, they need to seek approval of their ace to do that, so that they have clarity.
Sorry, sir.
Hello?
By ace, you mean the Sharia advisory body?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So that they can give them the go ahead. But because as we speak, what we are regulated and what we are directed to do by the regulator is that today we have 5 Islamic banks. They are more than enough for all the Takaful companies. After all, how much is the total collection compared to what's what's available in the market? So maybe for some reasons, I know some of the reasons, because sometimes when you approach a bank for business and they say they want to do Takaful for you, they don't want to transfer their money to another non-interest bank. They'll tell you first you have to open an account. But I think for any Takaful company to go ahead with that, they need to have certification and a clearance from the ACE.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rewan Sumonu, Managing Director of Nuru Takaful Insurance Limited, and many thanks to Mr. Ibrahim Shehu, who is also the MD CEO of Jais Takaful Insurance Limited. Thank you very much for your time. We would also like to thank all our participants for making out the time today to join us for this webinar. It's the first in a series. We are going to have 3 sessions. This was the first one. So we invite you to kindly join us same time next Saturday for the second session. We'll also have 2 guest speakers, the MD of Hilal Takaful Insurance and the Executive Director Operations from Salam Takaful. Thank you very much once again for your time. We really appreciate each and every one of you and look forward to having you on board with us again next Saturday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All the best. All right.